I can't even get it out. I need y'all help, man, because maybe I'm tripping. It's funny to me, but maybe I'm tripping. Most times I come and I help y'all, but y'all tell me something. Am I tripping to tell y'all that you need to block a man if he is taking away from your peace? If he is literally not just wasting your time, but wasting your ability to have a quality of life, he's holding back your blessings. And I say, hey man, when you see that, you need to block him. Because I just got dang near hate mail from a sister. She had watched my webinar, How to Stop Being a Man's Internship. She had a little question or whatever, but she also watched our live chat from yesterday. And she was like, D, all this stuff you talking about, you talking about block him? Well, some men make mistakes. Well, some don't act like you perfect. Look, y'all, if anybody know I ain't perfect, I know I ain't perfect. Y'all know too. It ain't about being perfect. It's about being worth protecting your peace from somebody who ain't doing nothing but destroying it. They ain't doing nothing but holding you back. And so when I talk about blocking somebody, matter of fact, let me ask you the question. How far away do you want to be from a person that's poisoning you? How far away do you want to be away from? Do you want to just kind of have one hand on them? Do you kind of want to be like, able to see them? Or do you want to be as far away as possible? So many men come into your life, and instead of nurturing you like we were designed to do, and then you being able to produce fruit like you were designed to do, and our life to maximize everything about us, they come in and they poison you. They take from you. They siphon. They use you. Matter of fact, put I down in the chat if you've ever dealt with a guy, and after a couple of months, 6 months, a year, whatever it is, you realize everything in your life is kind of getting shaky. It's kind of getting shaky. And the more you try to fix things with him, the more you invest and prioritize him and y'all's relationship, the worse things get around y'all. And it ain't getting no better with him. You see, this is the type of brother that you needed to block from day one. There are situations where, somebody just made a mistake, did a wrong thing, or y'all just kind of having some challenges coming in. I am by no means saying that if a man shows any type of flaw or imperfection, block him. But there are times where you have to be that straight up cut and dry. You ain't playing no games. You gotta get to a point where you don't play about you. You gotta get to a point where you don't play about you and you don't let nobody play about you. And that means blocking the person sometimes. Matter of fact, there are 5 reasons why you should block a man. Let me get very specific. The first reason why you should block a man, if he gives you this reason, is if he gives you disrespect. So there's a little context here. Subtle disrespect on day one, that can happen on in the relationship after the foundation has been established and you guys can get that right. But subtle disrespect on day one, conversation one, date one, in the very beginning, job interview stage. It's kind of like whenever you go get a new job, don't you dress appropriately? Don't you arrive 10 to 15 minutes early? Haven't you done your research on the company? Like, you ain't playing no games because it's the first impression. Now, of course, after you've set the foundation, you've brought the company value, you've been showing up, you've been committed, and then say you sleep in one day too long or whatever the case may be, there's a little grace there. But when a man shows you subtle disrespect in the very beginning, again, use context, use a discernment. Is it because it just happens like that? Or is it because he really is showing you disregard up front? Because if that's the case, you're going to wish you had blocked that man a lot sooner if you let that go on. Subtle disrespect can look like, say he shows up late for your first date. Now, that by itself, I say continue looking. But say he's not just late. Say he doesn't even give you a reason why he was late. He doesn't give you any kind of heads up when he knows he's about to be late. He just comes into the date like you're supposed to just accept that. He don't even say my bad. He just comes, hey, what's up? Yeah. What you got? What you did? That can be enough to block a man. Why would you block a man for something like that that's so inconsequentially small? Y'all ever had a guy do something like that and it changed the paradigm? It turned you off? With that being said, if you're the type of person where you're in this season where you don't have tolerance for these types of things, you don't even want to get off. You done put all this time into developing yourself and refining yourself. And maybe even for that outing, you put some real effort in. And the fact he can't even match you on the very first impression is already putting a bad taste in your mouth. You need to go ahead and wipe your hands. Hey, look, go ahead and block him. Don't go ahead and block him. Don't even leave it open because you don't want to leave nobody on. And then the other side of that is when it's blatant disrespect. This is kind of like 1A and 1B. Disrespect, period. But with the subtle disrespect, use some context as to whether or not you block him in order to save your peace on down the road. But if it's blatant disrespect can be him calling you out your name. Blatant disrespect can him being in the interest of being so blunt and straightforward. Him letting you know, hey, he wants to smash tonight, or else y'all going 50-50 on this date, or you gonna pay for his food. Blatant disrespect can be him standing you up for that date. If a man does any of these things, block him. And I'm saying this as a man. Why do I say this as a man? Because I hate men? No. Because I hate the fact that there are so many good men, great men, evolved men who are losing out on opportunities to love great women like yourselves because you're entertaining these guys and giving them grace they don't deserve. Giving them mercy and giving them second chance they don't deserve. There are men out here on the sidelines who will honor you, show up right at least on the first impression. Dang. At least put some effort into that. And they're not even getting a first chance because such and such over here is getting a 10th. Another reason why you should block a man is if you uncover a lie at the foundation of who he is. And yes, we're talking about blocking because I think these days y'all don't block enough. Y'all be leaving these bridges unburned, and then they come back on that bridge later on once the dust done settled with some BS. If you uncover a lie at the foundation of who that man is, what his age is, what his occupation is, if he has kids, how many kids he has, what his marital status is, how many times he's been married, anything foundational to this is part of how you're even assessing whether or not you want to connect yourself to this man, and he lied about that, block him. Block him. Now, block can be literal, like you clicking those little 3 dots up at the top of your social media platform and pressing block. Or block can be, hey, there's zero contact from this day forward. There's zero interest. There's zero going ons and dates and whatever else we was doing or thinking about doing. That's it. But block him. Why? Not necessarily because he's malicious. I've seen guys lie about these things because they're afraid of being judged, and they really, really were into this woman so much they just said something, and then they felt like they had to stick to it. But best case scenario, let's say he's not malicious. A lot of times they are whenever they lie about the foundation of who they are. But let's say he was so into you that he just said it and he just was in fear of your judgment. You're dealing with a man who's living out of alignment with his truth. He's living outside of integrity because he hasn't even accepted himself enough to accept or let go of anybody who's not ready to accept him in his full package. So to save yourself the heartache, the trauma that comes from trying to love somebody who ain't even real with themselves, who hasn't even accepted themselves, block them. If that man lied to you about, he hiding the whole family out here. Block him. You'll be glad you did and regret it if you didn't. I promise you that. Another reason in this day and age you should be blocking a man is if he has disregarded an expressed boundary of yours. And I stand by these because y'all, every time y'all come to me and y'all say, hey, D, I'm struggling with this, or I've wasted years dealing with a dude with this, et cetera, I always root back to one of these things that if you had just blocked him, your whole life would have been different. Put I down in the chat if you've ever dealt with a guy and you wish, like, looking back at it, like, man, if I just walked the other way, if I just gave him the wrong number or didn't pick up whenever he texted or called, my whole life would be better. A certain dude, it might be a baby daddy, it might be an ex-boyfriend, I don't care who it is. Like, if the day that you met him and you decided you was going to give him a chance, if you had just said, you know what, I'd rather not, your whole life would have been different in a good way. Put I down in the chat if you can be real with yourself and admit that, or you have ever been in that situation. One of those reasons or one of those things that should have been a catalyst to him getting blocked was complete disregard of an expressed boundary. Now, I don't want y'all to think that if a guy crosses a line, blurs a line, and you ain't never said nothing about it, you just need to block him or whatever. No, you might be missing out on your blessing. Because no two pieces come perfectly fit in the very beginning. Even if it feels like it, it's more so lust, it's more so honeymoon phase than it is truly being fit. No matter how great the pieces can fit, there's usually some type of changes, some type of adjusting that has to happen in order for you guys to mesh together. And what that looks like is initially some challenges, some friction, some discomforts. Now what happens is the communication becomes the ability to make those pieces fit in a healthy way. So say, for instance, he may be used to talking a certain way, making certain references to sex. Let's just say that, right? He's used to that. This is just what he does. It's no big deal to him. But then he comes across you and you're really not comfortable. You're not there with him yet. You're cool with sex, but just not the first, second date. You don't really know him like that. And he starts making these sexual references about your body or whatever. An express boundary looks like, hey, I'm not trying to say that you mean anything negative by it, but I'm uncomfortable talking about this. And I'd rather not anytime soon. It makes me uncomfortable. I just don't feel even emotionally safe having these types of conversations with you. So please don't. That's a boundary, right? If in the next 30 minutes, hour, or before the night ends, he's right back on a sexual, that is a completely disregarded, expressed boundary. It's a reflection of how he feels about you. It's a reflection of how much he's willing to protect you. It's a reflection of his respect for you or lack thereof. And see, when you go past this point with anything other than blocking him, you start crossing into the territory of raising him, fixing him, tolerating him, and being tolerated instead of appreciated as a result. If you express a boundary, again, y'all, I want to be very clear. With you and every standard that you have, don't expect no man to just read your mind and know that you don't like certain things. You don't like whatever. You don't take to constructive criticism before you even know whether or not he has credentials to critique anything. He don't know that. So do communicate with a man. If he makes you uncomfortable, don't run for the hills, immediately. Let him know, let him adjust and see whether or not he adjusts. But the accountability for an expressed boundary that he just totally disregards needs to be getting blocked. Now, this is the one I really want to kind of hone in on. Why you should block a man is if he downshifts in effort. If he downshifts in effort, y'all know, like in a stick shift, by the way, downshifting, upshift. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Downshifting is basically whenever you're slowing down. Like he put all this energy towards you whenever he wanted to get, in the door, when he wanted to get your number, when he wanted to prove himself, when he wanted whatever. And then you notice that he downshifts. Once you guys start getting close, once he gets to underwear, like he downshifts. Or even worse, actually, this should be at number 6. This is kind of honorable mention. If he ghosts you, block him. Block him. Any sign of retreat on the other side of you giving him what he wants is a horrible sign. It's a red flag of all red flags. Because you got manipulation why a man would do something like this. And then you got some men who are simply avoidant attachment styles. We're not going to get into that right now, but they're the type that they're afraid of vulnerability. So the moment things start getting close, they start kind of backing off. But what you're setting yourself up for is a roller coaster for your central nervous system that's going to dysregulate you. All of that to say, you're going to lose your peace at lightning speed. You're going to regret that you ever got vulnerable with this man, gave him your heart, gave him your time. Because you're never going to feel safe with him. And ultimately, you're going to waste your years trying to reestablish this safety that he's continuously taken away by withdrawing and backing away the moment that you get vulnerable or pour more into him. But if you notice that man downshifting ever, get ready for an inconsistent man. If you continue entertaining a man that takes his foot off the gas because now he's confident that you ain't dealing with nobody else, or that soul tie's been established in the bedroom, y'all having all kind of crazy sex, y'all wrong and everything, and now all of a sudden he busy. All of a sudden he got something to do. He got to go to work. He's still tired from work. He ain't had no time to text you. He ain't have 5 seconds to text you. You done went 24 hours without even texting you. Matter of fact, we don't even have to make it about ghosting. If he goes more than 24 hours without contacting you, blocked. You know what that's setting up for? Like we talked about ghosting yesterday, but let's talk about this. If a man goes more than 24 hours without talking to you, that's not just a downshifting effort. Whether he ran out of gas or whatever, he just straight up trying you at this point, especially if he thinks y'all supposed to continue having any type of building of a relationship or whatever. Now, let me put an asterisk by this one. This applies if you want something serious. If you want something serious and you want something long term, any man that's super equally serious about you, that he's not playing no games. He's not going 24 hours with at least touching base with you. Hey, babe, today's an especially busy day. Hey, baby, I ain't gonna have no service today. Hey, baby, I'm on a flight today. Whatever the case may be, he's going to find a way to get in touch with you, because 24 hours, it's like building a house and somebody want to go a month without going to work or something like, no call, no show. Just like in any other job, fired, blocked, can't get in. Key don't even work to get in no more. If you dating somebody and they go 24 hours without talking to you, I promise you that was on purpose. It was not on accident. It's not because they foot fell asleep. It ain't and no excuse that they can give you. Even at a funeral, I've been to funerals and I've seen people texting. There's always a way to get in touch with somebody. A bathroom break, a water break, a food break. Even if you ain't got your phone, you'll find somebody else who got a phone to get on social media and send you a message, leave a comment, something. I done seen people so crazy that when somebody try to stop dealing with them, they'll use Cash App in order to communicate. Since I know some of y'all like, man, I wish you'd use that with me then. They'll use Cash App to get in touch with you. All I'm saying is, if that man takes more than 24 hours or spends more than 24 hours not rocking with you, or even just downshifts in the effort that he was once upon a time putting forth, you are wasting your time by continuing on with that man, and you're setting yourself up for a life of constantly trying to earn that man to get back to being what he presented himself as in the beginning. You're going to set yourself up to constantly try to explain and prove why you're worthy of consistency. And if you've had your time wasted before, do yourself a favor and stop wasting your time, or else you'll end up like the women who honestly just prepare men for the woman who's not ready to waste her time. She's not willing to waste her time. I call them internships, by the way. Those are the ones where a man he gets equipped, he get all this value from a woman, he siphons out of her, then goes to a woman that he actually respects because she respected herself enough to say, you coming prepared for me. I'm not preparing you for no other woman. And honestly, there are things that a man recognizes in a woman, but most importantly, there are ways to recognize a man that thinks he's going to use you as a stepping stool towards the next woman. And I went in depth with that in my free webinar, How to Stop Being a Man's Internship. Y'all, if you have not gotten access to that, before it comes down, do yourself a favor. It's absolutely free. If you needed another reason to go get those gems that I spit on there for almost an hour, click the link that you see pinned down in the comments, also in the caption when you back out, and get access to that free masterclass, How to Stop Being a Man's Internship. Essentially, how you make sure that you're set apart as the woman, and a man knows he must come prepared for, not the woman that a man's gonna get prepared for another woman or something like that. But back to what I was saying, y'all got such big hearts. I've noticed this about y'all. Y'all that listen to me, you got big hearts. Y'all are graceful by nature. You know that you got flaws and you don't want nobody to just discard you. Some of y'all got abandonment wounds and stuff like that too, but a lot of y'all, you're just willing to overlook certain things, but unfortunately, that's like a gift and a curse. It can work against you too, because a lot of the same things that you overlooking are the same things gonna keep you up at night and regret wishing that you had walked the other way whenever that man came into your life. And I'm telling you now, it's time to incorporate the block feature, not just on social media, but in your life. Maybe you have a child with this guy and he got to get blocked now. The blocking looks like gray rocking. Y'all ain't talking about nothing personal no more. No, you don't want nothing to do with him no more. He's blocked from that aspect of you. He's blocked from having access to that. He's blocked from being connected to that. He's blocked from keeping your attention. Maybe that's all you could do because y'all got children together or something like that. But if you're fortunate enough to be able to cut this off in the very beginning, honor yourself, love yourself by who you refuse to allow to have access to you in the form of blocking. If that man has come to waste your time, you must block him. But those are just my thoughts. I'm your internet big brother trying to look out per usual. And if you got something from this, I always say this and I mean it still. If you got something of value from this conversation, keep your money. I don't want it. I'm good. But what I do want you to do is pay it forward to somebody else on your timeline by hitting the share button. Share it to somebody else in your timeline so they can be blessed the same way that you got blessed. That little button down there in the corner, wherever you're seeing it right now. And if you also want to get access to my free masterclass before that comes down, again, almost an hour I went in on how to avoid being that woman that's preparing a man for the next woman. But if you need another reason to check it out, it's absolutely free at the link that you see pinned down in the comments. Also in the caption whenever you back out, but it won't be up a whole lot longer because these are always temporary. So go ahead and get access. But I'll let y'all be good.